Hey everybody, we are catching up now from a few days behind, but these are wonderful, wonderful amudim, and we will catch up to where we're up to now. So, on we are starting Berakhos daf Mem Vav Amud Beis. No, sorry, Mem Vav Amud Aleph. Let's correct that right now. Mem Vav Amud Aleph from the very top, and we're in the middle of discussions about Birkas Hamazon and about eating and meals. And we start with a story about Rabbi Zera. Rabbi Zera Chalash. Rabbi Zera once got very sick. Al Ligabe Rav Avahu. And Rav Avahu went up to visit him, to do Bikur Cholim. Kabil Alayhu, and Rabbi Avahu accepted upon himself, I mitpach ktina charich shakeh, if the person with the burnt thighs will get healed. Avidna Yom Tava l'Rabbanan. I will make a Suda, a Yom Tov, a big party for the rabbis. So first of all, what is this nickname? What is this story behind Ktina Charich Shakeh, the small person with the burnt legs? So the Gemara in Bava Kama or Bava Metzia, I believe, it talks about Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Zera of the story here, and all the fasting that they would do for different purposes, for try to affect certain things. So the Gemara starts off with Rabbi Yosef, that he fasted 40 days to never forget his Torah, and he received a dream with the vision, Lo yamushu mipicha, it will not go out of your mouth. He fasted another 40 days, and he received another dream, and it said the next words in the pasuk, Umi pi zarecha, or from the mouths of your children. He fasted an additional 100 fasts, and he got the end of that pasuk, Umi pi zera zarecha. So those were the fasts of Rabbi Yosef, the total 180 fasts, and he got the message essentially from heaven, Lo yamushu mipicha, Umi pi zarecha, Umi pi zera zarecha. So that was Rabbi Yosef. Then it talks about Rabbi Zera, that when he went from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, he fasted 100 days just so that he would forget the Torah of Bavel, and just so that he could learn the Torah of Eretz Yisrael with a clear mind and not be tainted, so to speak, by what he had learned in Bavel. And he got it. Then when Rabbi Elazar got sick, he fasted an additional 100 fasts so that Rabbi Elazar wouldn't die, and he got what he fasted for. And then he fasted an additional 100 fasts to be saved from the fire of Gehenna. And the Gemara says, very hard to understand this Gemara, but the Gemara says that he would every so often step into an oven in order to see if the fire would affect him, and it wouldn't. Except one day, someone gave him ayin hara, and the fire burnt his legs, or burned his thighs a little bit. So from that point on, they called him Ktina Charich Shakeh, the small one with the burnt or scorched thighs. And that was the background behind that nickname. So, Itbach, so he recovered. Rabbi Abahu's Kabbalah worked for him. Avad Sudasa L'Kule Rabbanan, and Rabbi Abahu made a Suda for all of the rabbis. Kimata L'Mishrei, and when they began the meal, Amr Le the Rabbi Zera, he approached Rabbi Zera, the person who they were making the meal in honor of him getting well again. Lishrei Lanmar, please begin the meal. Make hamotzi for us. So Amar Le, Rabbi Zera said to Rav Avahu, Lo savar lamar lahad Rabbi Yochanan, don't you hold like Rabbi Yochanan? The Amar, like Rabbi Yochanan says, and Rabbi Yochanan, remember, is a rabbi in Israel. So Rabbi Zera is teaching that now he's himself in Bavel, but he's teaching the Torah of Rabbi Yochanan. The Amar, Rabbi Yochanan said, Baal Habayis Botseya, that the Baal Habayis, the master of the house, in this case, you're the person who made the party, you should break the bread. You should be the one who makes the hamotzi. So Shrelahu. So Rav Ahu accepted, and he broke the bread for everybody. Kimata Levruchai, when they came to the end of the meal to say Birkas Hamazon, Amar Le, again, he approached Rabbi Zera. Nivrich Lanmar, Rabbi Zera, will you please make the bracha for us? Amar Le, and Rabbi Zera responded, Lo savar lamar lahal de Rav Huna, Dimin Bavel, don't you hold like Rav Huna from Bavel? And again, remember, this is Rav Huna Stam, and this is the same Rav Huna that's mentioned everywhere else in the Gemara, as Rashi says here, Rav Huna Dimi Bavel, Hainu Rav Huna Stama, that's regular Rav Huna. So why did he call him Rav Huna Mi Bavel? Rav Huna of Bavel. Lefi she'achshav haya Rabbi Zera be'Eretz Yisrael, since at that point Rabbi Zera was already in Eretz Yisrael, Makom Rabbi Abahu, in the place of Rabbi Abahu, V'haya ola mi Bavel kamar hachi. Since he went from Bavel, that's what he said. So interestingly, given that the Gemara we quoted at the beginning, that Rabbi Zera davened to forget the Torah of Bavel, clearly he remembered some of the Torah he learned in Bavel. Lo savar lamar laha de Rav Huna de min Bavel. Don't you hold like what Rav Huna of Bavel said, the Amar, that he teaches Botzea Mevarich, that the one who made the bracha in the beginning, he's the one who makes the bracha at the end. The Iu Kiman, and clearly Rav Avahu disagreed. So who did Rav Avahu, who was he going according to? The Iu Kiman Sevirlu, whose logic was he following? Ki ha da Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Yishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. He was going according to Rabbi Yochanan in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Bal Habayis Botzea, the Orech Mevarich. That the Bal Habayis breaks the bread and the guest makes the bracha. The Birkas Hamazon. Bal Habayis Botzea Kadei Sheyivtza be'ayin yafeh. The Bal Habayis breaks the bread in order that he breaks it with lots of ayin yafeh, with good eye. He should give people a lot of bread, and that if the guest were to do that, he might not feel so comfortable giving so much bread to all the people. The Orech Mevarich Kadesha Yivrach Balabayas, and the guest should make the bracha Birkas Hamazon in order to bless the Balabayas. As we know, there's a special part of Birkas Hamazon where the guest blesses their host. Mamvarich, what is the bracha? What is he? How does he bless him? And they say pretty much the way we say it in our modern day benchers. Should be your will, God, that the Baal Habayis, the master of the house, should not be embarrassed in this world, and not disgraced in the next world. The Rebbe, Mosif Badvarim, and Rebbe Hiranasi would add additional things to the bracha. And this is what he would add. V'yitzlach ma'od b'chol nechasav. He should be very successful in all of his endeavors. V'yu nechasav unchasenu mutzlachim ukrovim la'ir. And his possessions and our possessions should be successful. I guess today we would say his money should do well in the stock market. Ukrovim la'ir, and close to the city, meaning his assets, whatever he has, should be close to the city he lives in, so that he can go to them and visit them and see that they're doing well, not having to travel too far. And the Satan should not rule over us in our actions, not his actions, not in our actions. And there should be no confrontation, not for him and not for us. And some say that is not yizdaker, but yizdakek. That's a different girsa in the Benchers and in the Gemara. Shum devar hirhur chet va'aver va'avon. There should not be any evil thoughts or sin, and avera avon, many different words for sin, essentially. Me'ata v'alam, for now and forevermore. So the question is, who do we actually hold? Like, does the first person who broke the bread, is he the one who makes the benching at the end? So it comes along the Rambam and he says, Bal Habayis Mevarech Hamotzi. The host makes hamotzi. Umashlim habracha v'achar potzei. He finishes the bracha, then he hands out the bread. This is at the beginning of the meal. The ha'oreach mevarech birkas hamazon, and the guest should say birkas hamazon kedei sheyivarech lebal habayis, in order that he can bless the master of the house. Vim hayu kulam ba'alei habayis. But if they all live in the same house, they're all roommates, they're all in one family, etc. Hagadol shebehen potzeya v'hu mevarech birkas hamazon. Then the biggest one, meaning the most important, the most chashuv, the father, or if there's a kohen, I suppose he would be the one. The greatest one should make the bracha in the beginning, and he's the one who makes birkas hamazon at the end. So kind of going to both opinions, pulling a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one, that there are some cases where a different person makes the bracha in the beginning and the end, and some cases where one person makes the bracha at the beginning and at the end. Onward in the Gemara, let's zip through. Ad hechan birkas hamazon. What point do we begin birkas hamazon? Meaning, how far into the zimun do you go? What part differentiates between the zimun and what part starts the actual benching? Rav Nachman Amar ad nevarech. Rav Nachman said until nevarech. So that's pretty much the way we hold today. That Baruch Elokeinu shechal mishlo tful chayinu. That's the nevarech. Nevarech. That part of benching is the nevarech part. Rav Sheshes Amar ad hazad. But Rav Sheshes has a very interesting opinion. He says the entire, what we would call today the first bracha of benching, is only in the zimun. So, Hazan es olam kulo b'tov b'chin v'chesed v'rachamim, that bracha is all the first, and he would start from no delecha. That's his beginning of benching. So, nema ketanai, maybe they're having a difference, maybe they're quoting a machlokas of Tanaim. Did Tane Chada, because there was one Tana who held that birkas hamazon shnayim ushlosha, that sometimes birkas hamazon has two, sometimes has three brachos. Tani idach, and another Tana held shlosha v'rabba, that sometimes it has 3 brachos and sometimes it has 4 brachos. So sivruha the kuli alma hatova ametiv lav deraisehu. So let's say for a moment that every single person agrees that hatova hametiv, the last bracha of benching, that bracha is not deraisa, so it's not included in this machlokas hanaim. My lav bahaf kamifli, don't they argue about the following thing? Man da'amar shtayim u'shalosh kasavar ad hazan, at the one who holds that benching can either have 2 brachos or 3 brachos, he holds that zimun goes to ad hazan, meaning if there's only 2 people or 1 person eating, they bench starting from no delacha and only do no de, and then the next bracha, so only 2 brachos, and not the final bracha, because benching has 4 brachos today. But again, that Tana holds until hazan is the zimun. If there are not 3 people, they don't do it. Therefore, the next person does only no delacha, and then the next bracha, rachem. And then the person who holds, the Tana who holds, that benching is either 3 or 4 brachos, he holds clearly that the benching is the full length, what we consider it today to be full benching, but 4 brachos is when there is a zimun, they would add an extra bracha, and 3 when there's not. So answer, no, not the case. Rav Nachman mitaretz l'tamei, Rav Sheshes mitaretz l'tamei. Rav Nachman explained that machlokas tanaim according to his reasoning, and Rav Sheshes explains according to his reasoning. Rav Nachman mitaretz l'tamei, and Rav Nachman explained in the following way: the kuli alma ad nevarech, that everyone agrees that it goes until nevarech. Man da'amar shalosh v'arba shapir, the Tana who held that benching could be 3 brachos or 4 brachos makes sense. Uman da'amar shtayim u'shalosh amar lecha, but the one who held 2 or 3, he would say to you, hacha b'birkas po'ali maskinan. We're talking about the bracha, the benching of the workers. And in that case, they would, since they have to go to work soon, they would do a shorter benching, and they would do 1 bracha less, just so that they can go back to work. The Amar Mar, as Mar said, poseach b'hazan, they would begin with hazan, with the first bracha of benching, the kola bona Yerushalayim b'birkas haaretz, and they would include the bona Yerushalayim in birkas haaretz. So they would combine 2 brachos into 1 together, and then their benching would only be 2 brachos long because they had to go back to work. Rav Sheshes mitaretz l'tamei, Rav Sheshes explains according to his reasoning, the kuli alma ad hazan, because everyone agrees, all the Tanaim would agree that zimun goes until hazan, includes the entire first bracha of benching. Man da'amar shtayim u'shalosh shapir, so the person who said that benching is either 2 brachos or 3 brachos makes sense. Uman da'amar shalosh v'arba kasavar hatov v'hametiv daraisehu. But the person who says, the Tana who says that the benching is either 3 or 4 brachos, he's just including an extra bracha because he says hatov v'hametiv, the last bracha of benching, the 4th bracha, that's a deraisa. So that's how they explain both sides of that Tanaitic dispute. Amar Rav Yosef. Now we're going to talk about hatov v'hametiv. Is it deraisa? Is it not deraisa? Teda da hatov v'hametiv lav deraisa. Should know that the bracha of hatov v'hametiv is not deraisa. Sha'arei po'alim okrimosa, because the workers, they don't have to say it. If they did have to say it, clearly it would have been fine that is deraisa. Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marsa Nishmei the Rav. So Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel, son of Marsa, said in the name of Rav, Teila da hatov v'hametiv lav deraisa. Same thing. Hatov v'hametiv is not deraisa. Shari poseach ba bebarach ve'ein chosim ba bebarach, because we open it with a baruch and we don't close it with a baruch. There's a baruch at the beginning, but not a baruch at the end. Kidatanya, and as we went in the brisa, kol habrachos kulam, all the brachos, poseach behem bebarach v'chosim behem bebarach. We begin them with a baruch and we close them with a baruch. Chutz min birkas haperos or birkas hamitzvos, except for the blessing over peros, fruits, and the bracha on mitzvos. Ubracha smucha lechaverta, and any bracha that's connected to another bracha. Ubracha achrona shma, and the last bracha of kriyas shma. V'yesh mehen sheposeach behem bebarach ve'ein chosim bebarach. And there are some brachos where we open with baruch, but we don't close with baruch. So which one of those? V'yesh mehen shechosim behem bebarach, and some that we close with baruch. Ve'ein poseach bebarach. V'atov v'hametiv. Poseach bebarach, Ve'ein chosim v'barach, and the bracha v'atov v'amitiv, it opens with baruch, and it does not close with baruch. Miklal the bracha b'pnei atzmahu. So we see that it's a bracha all by itself. Meaning, if it were connected to the rest of benching, which is doraisa, it would not have opened with baruch. It would have been just like the rest of the brachos of benching, and no baruch at the beginning, and it would have flowed right through, just like one long bracha. There are different brachos, but it feels like one very long bracha. So I recommend, just to understand this a little better, to open a siddur or open a bencher and look and actually see, okay, so that doesn't start with baruch, and actually get a picture, get a feel for where the brachos start and end, because there are 4 brachos, and the brachos end generally where they end with a line, Baruch Atah Hashem, etc. And that's a good way to tell where the brachos start and end. And with that, we have our shir come to an end. Hope you have a wonderful, beautiful day.